I have Katie Broman. She's the executive director of the Omaha Playhouse. And I just want to ask Katie a couple questions about how the overall impact of COVID on the Omaha Playhouse. Like, what have you seen over this year that it's been severely impacted, I know, but what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so COVID has hit the arts really hard, as is true for a lot of industries and businesses. We had to close in March, and we found a way to reopen in the summer by doing drive-in shows in our parking lot, which were really successful, really popular. And we finally opened shows in our building again at the end of September. But of course, because of social distancing, our capacities were greatly reduced. And so we have had a fraction of the people who typically come to shows at the Playhouse coming in 2020. Now, the community has been so generous, the philanthropic community, but we still have had a major financial impact in 2020 and are facing quite a large deficit, even with all of the help, just because we can't have people in our building seeing our shows right now. We chose to put our Christmas shows completely online this year for virtual streaming rather than opening them up in person. We had planned to, but then in November, when hospitalizations and cases just spiked, we decided it was probably the best to just offer virtual streaming for our holiday shows.
Right. Can you speak a bit about A Christmas Carol itself and what the I know that that is a significant part of the Omaha Playhouse's operating budgets, and so the loss of that, especially when you had gone through it all, you had gone through rehearsal, you had made the sets and the costumes. I know you reused some of those portions of those pieces, but just kind of what was the reaction when that had to close down?
Yeah, so A Christmas Carol, like you said, Kathy, it's so important to the Playhouse. We've been offering this production for 45 years. It's a staple in so many people's holiday traditions. And in addition to the main stage production that people see here in Omaha, we also have a national tour that goes out every year. We knew a few months ago that we wouldn't be able to do the tour. That would be too complicated because, we are often in multiple states a day, and different states have different quarantine rules right now, but we had hoped to be able to do the main stage production at a reduced capacity. And obviously that was going to have a financial impact, but then going completely online rather than having anything in person had an even greater financial impact. And it was disheartening because there's these group of 8 people. So the production is typically more than 40 people in a cast. And Kimberly Faith Hickman, who's our outgoing artistic director, and Jeffrey Jones, who's the son of Charles Jones, who adapted A Christmas Carol, the production that we do every year, they readapted it this year for an 8-person cast, which was extremely clever and blocked the entire show, so it was socially distanced. So here are these 8 people who've poured so much time, energy, and talent into the production during that rehearsal time frame. And to not open to a live audience, I know was disheartening, but they were an incredible group and had really positive outlooks. And we were grateful that we were able to perform the show for streaming. So we were able to film it so that audiences across Omaha and all over the country or the world can stream it in the comfort of their own home.
Great. I have one final question for you, kind of a fun one. Can you think of the things that the staff has done throughout this time that kind of they went over and above to fight to keep the doors open? I know you've had a lot of changes. Everybody's had to kind of pivot and come together. Can you think of any examples of what the staff has been doing?
Yeah, our staff has been incredible this year. The amount of resilience and innovation and adaptability has been awe-inspiring with our staff. Probably the best example of how everybody came together to keep the doors open was with our drive-in shows in the parking lot over the summer. It was on the daily, there was a labor of love. You know, our finance director was parking cars, our costume designer was cleaning door handles, and so many people on our staff would, in 90-degree heat, would be setting up the stage and tearing it down every night. And these are people who are experts in their field, and just really stepped out of their comfort zone and did something that they normally wouldn't have had to do in a regular season, just to keep the art alive at the Playhouse.
I think that's kind of a common theme there. It's just like everybody gets together and make sure everything goes as smoothly as possible. And it's just really neat to see what that means when it comes down to brass tacks.
Yeah, they've been doing an amazing job.